Have you ever been a dive with your GoPro and the settings on your GoPro is not what you need on that specific moment of the dive? And because you have a dive case with only 2 buttons, you cannot actually change the settings quite quickly, or it depends on what the settings you cannot actually even change. So in this video, what I wanted to show you an easy way to change your settings on your GoPro just reading a QR code. So without further ado, let's dive into it. So the first thing to do is to download a different firmware from what the camera comes in. And this is all from GoPro itself. It's not something that we are going to dodge in websites and so. And this is called GoPro Labs firmware. So let's go to the computer and then I will guide you through the whole step-by-step on how to download, install, and what exactly you can do with those QR codes and how to customize your camera. So the first thing to do is actually go to a website from GoPro Labs. If you search on the internet, it's going to give you and download the firmware. With this new firmware, there are lots of things you can do. For example, there is a list here of what you can do. So trigger camera motion, USB detection. Then what we are looking at here is the simple QR code. So basically what the camera will be able to do is to read this QR code that we are going to create later on and change the settings as required. So the link is here down on to download and how to install this firmware. But if you go to GoPro GitHub io/labs, you're going to see here there are the firmware. So for GoPro 12, 11, 11 mini, 10. So my camera is the GoPro 10. So I already downloaded the zip file and save it here on the tape. So you can see here Labs Hero 10 150.70. So what I'm going to do is just extract this file here. And you can see here there is a folder called Update. And inside this folder, we have a couple of files. That is the camfwv.bin, data, and fwupd.txt. So what I'm going to do is basically copy the whole folder, just right click and copy, or Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V, and I will add this to the root of my SD card. So just copy and paste inside the root of your SD card, and basically that's it for the PC side. So as soon as it's copied, what I'm going to do is just remove the SD card and plug the SD card into my GoPro. Okay, so here with the GoPro, what I'm going to do is to insert the SD card that we copied the file, insert the battery, and I'm going to just switch on. You can see here now that the firmware is start to be upgraded. So it does take a few seconds, probably close to a minute, and then the camera will reboot a couple of times, and at the end of the installation there is going to be now some information in the screen. Yes, so it's rebooting now. Update completed, and now as soon as the camera finishes, another reboot. And the first time you're going to see, not every time there is going to be a owner information in the screen. But you can see here now, if I scroll down, everything was exactly as it was before. That is just every time you turn on, turn off, you're going to see that there is a message in the screen, and that message is customizable. So we're going to see shortly how we can actually customize that screen. So the first thing to do here is to go to GoPro GitHub io Labs Control Owner. So we can personalize one of the QR codes and have the information on the screen. I'm going to put line 1, line 2 and line 3 just to play around. Can you see that the QR code has changed? So I'm now going to get the GoPro and just scan the QR code. You can see that the 3 lines quickly appear on the screen. So every time I turn the GoPro on, you'll see that information for the first few seconds. The same information you add here will be added to the GoPro. And with a single scanning of the QR code, I was able to customize my initial screen. Normally, what I do is to put my name, my telephone number, and my email address. If I lose the camera, what happens? People who find the camera will have my information when they turn the GoPro on. But it's not just this what you can do. There is a lot more that you can do with the QR code. Just go to Control Custom instead of Control Owner, and we will be able to customize the QR code for almost all camera aspects. And you can save this QR code for later use. So for example, let's create a quick one here. I want to set for video. We'll select standard preset, but I could select activity, cinematic, and other options. Photo mode is not applicable for the video mode, so we will not select it. For video resolution, let's do a 4K at 120 frames with a wide lens. There are other options we can select like zoom, hypermove, etc. But I will leave the default. Now, before we scan the QR code, let me show you what's the current configuration. The configuration is 4K, 60 frames per second and linear. If I scan the QR code, it changes quite quickly to 4K, 120 frames per second and wide. Now let's change to photo. Let's select wide and I will leave the photo properties in the default. With a quick scan, I can now change from video to photo mode, and wait a bit, I don't need to do anything else. This is a great tool when underwater with the underwater case where changing setting is almost impossible. You can easily print the QR code and laminate the paper to make it waterproof, and that's it. You just need to scan the QR code and the new setting or mode takes effect. To go back to video mode, you just need to scan a QR code with the video mode settings. Let's create a 4K 6 FPS and linear. It will create another QR code. I just need to scan the QR code and it will be applied in seconds. You can see here that the settings were applied. So yeah, that's a lot you can do with just scanning a QR code. But you don't need to create all the QR code unless you actually really want to create the QR code. I left some links in the description below because I already created the QR code. For example, you can see here for 4K video, linear 6 frames per second, 120, for photo burst, and like many others. I will leave the links in the description below. So there are all those ones that I actually use, not just for underwater, but also in the land. For example, I want to do a night lapse. I can easily scan the QR code and that's it. I don't need to actually go further into the settings and try to remember which settings I should actually use. I always have exactly the same settings. So that is it, folks. An easy way to change the GoPro settings that works even underwater. If you enjoyed this behind the scenes look at my GoPro quick setting change, don't forget to comment what settings you use with your GoPro and how many QR codes you have. And if you want to know more about the videography gear, check out this video that I'm going to give you an idea of the gear I use.